since women are considered or recognized as vital and essential resources by men, primarily for conjugal connection, the establishment of family, and the continuation of legacy. Men as builders place significant emphasis on protecting these valuable resources from external threats and improper usage to ensure their intended productivity and functionality. Men often perceive other men, environments, operating systems, and societal structures as potential threats that can compromise the functionality, productivity, and state or condition of such resources when exposed. Women are inherently vulnerable to the external progress of man in building legacies, establishing infrastructure, and fostering governance. These external activities can influence and affect their internal growth, ability to nurture, and emotional security under adverse forces. The competition among men for the acquisition of valuable resources is key to solidifying their legacies through family and offspring. This further highlights the need for safeguards. The necessity of insulation and protection becomes essential to prevent women from being misused, corrupted, or degraded. Boundaries are established to safeguard against exploitation for counterproductive purposes that undermine their intended function and state. When exposed to hostile environments, a woman's potential can be compromised, resulting in chaos, corruption, inefficiency, and irresponsible misuse by those acting against her relational mission or values. Privileges serve as protective measures to prevent havoc, corruption, and destabilization that could lead to harmful consequences, such as emotional damage, hurtful toxicity, or oppressive situations. A woman's value as a resource is intrinsically linked to her primed condition and intended purpose, ensuring her productivity and positive contributions. Misleading, misdirecting, or degrading her potential creates destabilization with ripple effects, ultimately undermining collective goals. Connections, functionality, and productivity requires nurturing and protection from exploitative environments or toxic influences that misdirect or suppress potential. Resources must qualify for proper use, as misuse in inappropriate capacities can lead to harm and inefficiency. It is therefore vital to protect women from exploitation, negligence, or influences that diminish their value and utility, ensuring they contribute positively rather than being weaponized for harmful agendas. When women become disconnected from their femininity or lack the nurturing foundation they are suited for, they may exhibit dysfunctionality, becoming disruptive, overly assertive, and adopting masculine traits. This often results in women rejecting traditional family-building roles, viewing children as obstacles to career and lifestyle choices, and even supporting ideologies that dismantle established structures. This shift reflects an internal suppression of their own natural alignment to nurture and support family, leading to a rebellion against their natural propensity as nurturers and emotional anchors. Men serve as a covering, insulating women as valuable resources from harmful exposure. Failure to provide adequate insulation can lead to inefficiency, waste, and chaos, compromising continuity, utility, and positive impact. Protecting women is to ensure they remain aligned with their roles in fostering connection, productivity, and functionality for collective and beneficial goals rather than counterproductive ends. In modern contexts, demands for diversity, equity, and inclusion often prioritize access and representation over functionality and efficiency. Diversity, therefore, allows roles to be filled without necessarily being suitable, prepared, or qualified. Equality grants functions without accountability or efficiency. And inclusion offers access to benefits and privileges without necessarily requiring proportional contribution, effort, or investment. This undermines meritocracy and responsibility. Leadership among men typically emerges organically with structured hierarchies around capacity, strength, responsibility, and the ability to command respect. This enables decisive progress, swift accountability, and collective benefit, reinforcing order and stability. Men are driven by external progress, building legacies, establishing infrastructure, and fostering governance. Huge contrasts with women's internalization, which focus on nurturing relationships and prioritizing emotional security. Men interact with other men based on rules and agreement, not emotional stimulus where strength is needed to diffuse conflict for stability and order. The concept of patriarchy stems from paternity, the foundational role of the father in building families and expanding into communities. Men defend and govern what they build. The committed effort to safeguard that progress and achievement is patriotism. Men are purpose-driven, prioritizing mission where relationship supports and complements it. Relationships serve as contributors to advancing a man's goals, not as the primary focus or highest priority. Women, in complementing men's missions, find that they benefit from the resources, protection, and stability provided through familial relationships and communities. By focusing on nurturing families and managing households, women align with their strengths and enjoy privileges and security. Historically, women have not independently organized themselves to build external hierarchies or infrastructures as men have. Instead, their approach is often submissive engagement, nurturing internal cohesion and fostering alignment with men's missions. This engagement allows them to access resources and privileges that independently is not guaranteed. In contemporary society, the dynamics of submission and tending have shifted to demands for diversity, equality, and inclusion. These demands often aim to challenge or control leadership roles traditionally held by men. However, when men relinquish leadership, governance, and defense to women in the name of equality, it strays from the foundational principles of patriarchy or patriotism. Both concepts already inherently support women by providing privileges, stability, and protection, but maintain the distinction of male leadership as a firm foundation. The patriarchal framework is rooted in the masculine foundation of leadership and building, where women function as essential resources. While modern demands emphasize inclusion and equality, they often neglect the importance of capacity, preparation, and the roles that ensure functional and stable societies. Maintaining this balance is crucial to preserving the intended productivity, utility, and positive contributions of all individuals in their respective roles. Man's purpose is to establish God's kingdom on earth as a reflection of heaven, exercising obedience and embodying divine love to promote collective benefit and unity. The woman was subsequently created from man, not as an independent entity but as an interconnection of him, a suitable helpmate to assist under his leadership in fulfilling his mission and complementing his purpose. The woman's role is to complement the man, enabling the expansion of his purpose through her capacity to nurture, sustain, and bring forth offspring in a supportive and submissive capacity. Children, as descendants, ensures continuity, preservation, and the legacy of the family and community. This context establishes a dynamic where men and women operate in harmony. The woman is regarded as the glorification of man, much as man reflects God's image and reproduces his order on earth. Similarly, the woman reflects man's purpose, reproducing his order and furthering his mission in alignment with divine will. Men and women are designed to operate in different but complementary roles. The man leads and builds, establishing structure and governance, while the woman nurtures and sustains for the flourishing of relationships, families, and communities. Her efforts centralize like a nucleus for relational stability, contributing uniquely to the shared purpose of advancing God's kingdom on earth. Men's mission is incomplete without the nurturing influence of women. She enables men to increase, multiply, and replenish the earth, and being the mother all humanity that populate the earth. The woman's nurturing potential requires the foundational structure provided by the man, micro and men leading men. And it is micro in that men individually are to be the head of their household and direct leaders of their families. In patriarchy, on autonomy and sexual liberation, such as my body, my choice, to redefine accountabilities as discrimination. Women's sexual agency wields significant power. Without respect for leadership arise when dependents seek to undermine and disrupt it while enjoying benefits from the opportunities of such leadership. Their own agenda that they prioritize dismantles into chaos and inefficiency. Historically, modesty and chastity in women served as safeguards against undue sexual attention and the manipulation of sexual allure as a tool to influence, control, compromise, or entangle others in obligations or allegations of violations and misconduct. It mitigate against societal disharmony.
Don't you think
have reluctance to establish their own independent alternatives if it not easier to be integrated in the established framework of patriarchy. Personal autonomy carries the responsibility to uphold relational and communal harmony for social order and progress. Modern empowerment ties women's agency to sexuality, which incites lust to gain influence to disrupt balance. Into a success story is more prestigious than starting an untested venture they are unwilling to undertake. Their preference is to influence existing system to align with their vision. Men have an enormous propensity towards violence and requires established agreements to foster cooperation and preserve social order.
Why would it be irrational to protect your own child?
It's a natural mechanism. The way I see capitalism is a competitive strategy used to expand output based on performance. The strong outperform while the weak underperform. The gap give rise to arguments of unfairness because strength is not equal to weakness or that strength is not willing to relinquish it purpose-driven to enhance, rather
just men. It doesn't mean human. And for women to have to fight for anything to be equal to a man is just...
It's ridiculous.
It proves that men have their right. They're the ones that set the rights. They're the ones that, if that's most of our Senate, our House, our Congress, everybody, they're the ones that vote.
Yeah, because we built society. So since we built society, you're lucky we're even giving you a seat at the fucking table.
Stupid.
I'm not going to give someone the ability to make a decision or have weigh-in on something that they don't have skin in. Okay, Frank.
Things that get passed, they have the rights and they're the ones that dish them out to everybody else, and you're lucky if you can get them.
When you don't have skin in the game, you don't give a fuck. When you don't give a fuck, you're going to make decisions that are ill-informed, like this fucking woman right here. So if we built it, we make the decisions. Not you.
Roles of masculinity and patriarchy are perceived bastions of societal coherence. Its structures of leadership, responsibility, protection, and the drive to build legacies provide stability and order, fostering strong family, community, and societal continuity. There is an adversarial attack on these foundations to hijack with ideology and systematic effort to dismantle and refine these structures. The objective is for there to be tension between order and chaos, stability and disruption, and reorganized roles frame as liberation that is designated to fragment. The system they seek to implement is a battle for the soul to enslave humanity by stripping personal agency, making them dependent on external control rather than self-reliance. By destabilizing traditional values and structures, people lose a sense of purpose, leaving them adrift in a world devoid of clear goals or legacies. The disruption of family structures and generational planning erodes the ability to establish enduring legacies, replacing continuity with transience and disorder. Undermining meaningful relationships and communities allows isolation or artificial connections that lack depth and authenticity to replace the emptiness. If values are eroded and life is without clear goals or there is no drive to leave a legacy, confusion and conflict would make manipulation and control significantly easier. Women are especially targeted and preyed on for vulnerabilities because, as nurturers and essential contributors to the family and social harmony, the desire for security and equality is exploited, offering false solutions that undermine their roles and contributions into mockery and defeat. This allows her to be turned into an instrument of chaos rather than to flow with her essence, which is to complement as a suitable aid in the mission to fulfill the designated purpose. Masculinity is a line of defense that stands for order, protection, and threats to stability. It challenges forces that come against harmony and progress. Dismantling nurturing roles creates a ripple effect that disempower and disrupt balance. If the women are out of order and boundaries are breached, it's easier for the infiltration of adversarial compromise. Eve allowed the trespass of an enemy, Rahab the prostitute. Let down a robe from the wall for spies to enter. And the rebellious women produced Nephilims that acquired the acquisitions of men. Revelation reinforces the idea that humanity must remain vigilant, valuing and protecting structures that promote harmony, purpose, and legacy, while resisting systems that undermine these foundations under the guise of progress or aid. Drawing from the book of Revelation, the woman riding the beast represents a union of power and corruption, and the cup in her hand represents wrath and destruction disguised as fulfillment or aid. The beast represents a system of disorder, corruption, and oppression. It thrives on division, instigating conflict to weaken collective strength. The empowerment for liberation that women internalize as HELP is a prey on vulnerability. The acronym HELP in vulnerability from the system of the beast is hypocrisy in the promise of liberation while imposing new forms of control. Exploitation in using vulnerabilities as tools for manipulation. Lies in propagating false narratives to deceive and destabilize. Predation seeking to weaken and consume rather than support. Therefore, be watchful on your guard, wolves in sheep clothing.
Thank you for watching. Please comment with your feedback and opinions, and be sure to subscribe.